In the year 1324, a caravan unlike any the world had ever seen set out from the heart of West Africa. Thousands of men, women, and servants marched behind their king, a man draped in gold and legend. His name was Mansa Musa. He was the ruler of the Mali Empire, a kingdom so vast it stretched across modern-day Mali, Senegal, and Niger. But it wasn't his army or his territory that made him unforgettable. It was his wealth. Gold flowed through Mali like blood through veins, and Musa was its beating heart. As he embarked on his pilgrimage to Mecca, Mansa Musa carried with him 60,000 men, 12,000 slaves, and hundreds of camels, each loaded with hundreds of pounds of gold. To every city he passed, he gave gifts of unimaginable fortune. In Cairo, he distributed so much gold that its value collapsed for over a decade. The people of Cairo had never seen generosity like this. To them, Musa seemed less like a man and more like a legend stepped out of the desert. But this was no reckless show of power. It was calculated. Musa wanted the world to know Mali, to carve his empire into the map of history. As the caravan rested under the stars, whispers spread across the sands, tales of a golden king from the west. Even in distant Europe, chroniclers would soon record the story of the African monarch whose wealth dwarfed that of kings and popes. But who was this man before the gold, before the legend? To understand that, we must journey back to the rise of Mali itself. Born in 1280, Musa was not destined to rule. He was a deputy to the Emperor Abu Bakr II, a man obsessed with discovery. When Abu Bakr sailed west into the Atlantic and never returned, Musa inherited the throne, and with it, the chance to transform his land into one of the greatest empires Africa had ever seen. Under his reign, cities like Timbuktu and Gao flourished. Scholars, poets, and traders gathered in their bustling streets. Musa's Mali became not just a land of gold, but of knowledge. Yet even with all his achievements, Musa sought one thing more: divine recognition. His pilgrimage would not only fulfill his faith, but also broadcast Mali's glory to the Islamic world. And in doing so, he would etch his name forever into history. But what awaited him on his return, and how his generosity reshaped Africa, would change the fate of an empire. When Mansa Musa returned from his legendary pilgrimage, Mali was no longer just a kingdom, it was a myth. He brought back not only architects and scholars, but also a vision: to build an empire that would outlast gold itself. Under Musa's command, the great city of Timbuktu became the jewel of Africa. There, he built the Jingureber Mosque, designed by the Andalusian architect Abu Ishaq al-Sahili, a masterpiece of Sahelian mud architecture that still stands today. Libraries filled with manuscripts, poets wrote in Arabic, and traders from across the Sahara called Mali the land where the sun met gold. But Musa's true wealth was not in the gold he spent. It was in the civilization he built. He turned Timbuktu into a beacon of learning where religion, science, and art thrived. In an age when Europe was lost in the shadow of the Black Death, Africa's Mali Empire glowed like a star of enlightenment. Kings from the north sent emissaries. Cartographers from Italy and Spain drew his name on their maps: Musa, Lord of the Blacks and of Gold. For centuries after, his story would ripple through time, not just as the richest man in history, but as a ruler who turned his faith into legacy. Yet even empires of gold are not eternal. After Musa's death, Mali began to fracture. Wealth invited envy. Kingdoms rose and fell. The sands reclaimed cities that once sparkled with light. But Musa's pilgrimage, his generosity, and his vision outlived the empire he built. Today, centuries later, Mansa Musa remains a symbol, not just of unimaginable wealth, but of purpose. He showed the world that true greatness is not measured by gold, but by what that gold builds. And somewhere beneath the dunes of West Africa, the echoes of his golden caravan still whisper, of a king who gave so much, the world will never forget his name. This was Forgotten History Archives. If history still fascinates you as it did centuries ago, like, subscribe, and join us as we uncover